celebrating 15 years of possibility. Pilot Flying J and Halloran Hilton Hill present Anything is Possible. Today's guest, Gary Christian, Part 1.
This is Anything is Possible. Great stories about great people, my friends that prove that anything is possible. Today, my friend, and I can say that with a capital F, Gary Christian. Good to see you today.
Good to see you, buddy.
I was at your house. I've been at your house a few times. But I was at your house recently. We're in the front yard. Two grandboys are out there. They're trying to outdo themselves, outdo each other playing golf. And what's the oldest one's name?
Tucker.
Tucker. So Tucker literally is pointing, I'm going to put it right there.
And he does.
And he puts it right there.
He does.
It's like watching Little Tiger. So You're there, your son's there, Tucker's there, and your youngest grandson?
Luke.
Luke. And we're all out there and we're just laughing. Front door to the house is open. There's light. I saw your new motorcycle.
Yeah.
And I told you that day, I said, did I just see you smile? And
Yeah,
you
you
said,
did.
yeah. Welcome to the broadcast. To me, that is one of the most incredible moments of possibility I've ever seen, because it was in that very house. I stood with you in your kitchen, right? We went upstairs to that room. You asked me, what'd you say to me before we went in the room?
You don't want to see him.
You said, are you sure?
Yeah, I did.
And we
say
sat
that.
there and we looked at every one of the photos. You lost your daughter. You lost her best friend and boyfriend in one of the most horrific crimes our country has ever seen. And we sat there and we looked at every one of them and we cried together right there. Downstairs in the kitchen, I said to you, where's God? And you went stone cold silent. And today is a different day.
It is.
What's this journey been like for you?
It's hard. You know, when you were once grew up in the church, your father's been a deacon ever since you can remember in a Baptist church. You played drums in a band, a religious band, all through high school. Played at Baptist youth conventions and, 25,000 people, and played with people like Ken Medema, and I had been to the mountaintop numerous times. And when Shannon was murdered, I didn't blame God. I just couldn't understand how God could allow her to be tortured the way she was. I told many people, many times, why couldn't he have taken her in a car wreck? Anything but that. When Christ was about to be crucified, he prayed to God, if there was any other way, that it could be done. Let this cup pass from me, right? He got total, complete silence. There was nothing. I needed to know why. I wanted to know why. Why did she have to suffer the way she did? She was 4.5 grade at point average at UT, holding down 2 jobs, a Christian, sweetest girl in the world. Didn't do drugs. She never caused me 1 ounce of trouble. Why would God let her be tortured? You saw it.
I saw it.
It changed you.
It changed me forever.
I told you it was going to change you.
I would tell people on the radio, because people would always question why you were so angry, why you sat in the courtroom like this. And I would tell people, you have no idea. You think you know, you don't know. You don't have any idea. Why don't we take a break right here, and when we come back, evidently you've been through some type of process, and I'll share with you what's on this paper that happened, because you said something to me prior to this interview. It floored me, quite frankly, and we'll get to that in just a moment. This is Gary Christian, and this is Anything is Possible.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel. Coming up.
I lived off of hate and anger for 10 years. 10 years is a long time.
Welcome back to Anything is Possible. My possibility guest today is Gary Christian. Thank you for being here today. We shared that time together, and you were on the radio show a number of times, because I told you before that moment, but beyond that moment, I said, whatever platform I have, I couldn't imagine. I was only at the periphery of what you experienced, but I couldn't imagine how far down through there you went. You went to hell and back. And I know that people watching this interview, you still may not have a real notion of how deep this pain is and how confusing that had to be to you, because like you just laid out, she's a scholar, she's a hard worker, she loves God, hasn't given you a moment's trouble. You're a hard-working guy. You're the guy, I shake your hand, the deal's done, man of my word. That's how you operate. That's how you function. So you're like, why would God let her be tortured? So these several years, you started a foundation, which for me, I thought represented huge possibility, because you were taking the pain and you were turning it into something positive. I thought, where'd you find the strength to do that? But then, like I told you, bringing me to this moment, 2 things. One, I'm at your house recently, and it was full of light. And I've been in this house before. And then you told me something on the phone that I dropped silent when you said it. You said, I need to tell you something. I didn't know what you need. I thought it was something about the golf tournament or whatever. And you said, I need to tell you something. And I said, okay. And you said, I made my peace with God. Let me read you some lyrics, and then I'll let you unpack this, because you told me about this today. These are lyrics from the song I'm Moving On by Rascal Flatts. I've dealt with my ghost and I faced all my demons, finally content with a past regret. I found you find strength in your moments of weakness. For once I'm at peace with myself. I've been burdened with blame, trapped in the past for too long. I'm moving on. What happened, Gary?
Well, I have a motorcycle club that was started shortly after Shannon died. And Howard, I lived off of hate and anger for 10 years. 10 years is a long time. To me, the first time that our club rode together was on her birthday. And to me, it seems like yesterday. We've been through all kind of changes. The club does so much good for this community. They're good people. They care. They want to make a difference. I've had 2 chaplains in the 8 years that we've been together, and I used to tell I've told both of them, one of these days, we're going to the woods, and we're not coming out until I'm right. Because I still have hate. I still have anger. But I've been focused on helping people in Shannon's memory for so long. Now that I couldn't keep the whole anymore. Because what I realized a long time ago is if I continue to have in my heart what I have, I may not ever see my daughter again. I don't know if things are going to be the same with a loved one in heaven. I think they're going to know you. I don't know if it's going to be the same, but whatever it is, I wanted it with Shannon.
Coming up,
I go to church Easter. It's like when I walked in the door, God was saying to me, welcome back.
So what happened at her graveside recently?
Some of the club members have been trying to get me to go to church for quite a while. And I, of course, found every excuse in the world. Easter Sunday, I went to a church with some of my brothers and their wives. And you're right, I was smiling over at the house that day. I mean,
I couldn't believe it.
I'm happy. When I came in today, Chris was talking to me. He said, man, I'm so proud for you that you seem happy. Your Facebook page changed. There's light, there's life in your Facebook page, and it was not. And I go to church Easter, and it's like when I walked in the door, God was saying to me, welcome back. I've not been in a church except for a funeral in 10 years. And I lived there before. I felt like that preacher was picking on me that day. I went the next Sunday, and I really felt like he was picking on me. And I went last Sunday, and I know he was picking on me. See, when Christ was crucified, you know all the pictures that's in the Bible where the artist shows a little blood or a little, you know, the Bible says Christ was whipped till he had no flesh, that you couldn't even tell it was human. You remember what we said when we were looking at the pictures? I was asking questions in my head, and I heard nothing but silence. And Sunday, I'm on my big bad Harley, and I'm cruising down Pellissippi, and I got a CD in the stereo, and Rascal Flatts CD, and Moving On came on. And I've heard that song 5 million times.
But never heard it.
But I never heard it. I heard that song for the first time. If you read on, you would see me some more. I get to church, and it became very clear to me that God can, but won't ever circumvent man's free will. He gave us free will. Makes us different from cows and chickens, and right? And all of a sudden, he answered me. God didn't do that. I knew that already. God couldn't stop it. God couldn't change it. Because those 5 demons had it in their heart and in their will to do what they did. And all of a sudden, I knew that God didn't let her get tortured. Just like he didn't let Christ be tortured. Man did that. And man did it to Shannon. And I came out of the church. What else happened was, Peter denied Christ 3 times. Christ told him he was going to deny him, and he said, "No, I'm not." And he did. I never denied God. I just didn't know how. I got on my knees every day of my life, Alan. and prayed before I'd go to work. I didn't ask him to help me sell cars. I didn't ask him for anything. I asked him to protect my children. They were my life. And when that happened, I lost faith. I lost my trust. The one thing, the most important thing to me in my life, was one of them was gone. And I was angry. And I was hurt and I felt let down.
What a powerful moment, and there are more powerful moments to come in the next episode. You know what? Gary Christian is a friend, and when I saw the hate, that evil force that drove those people to do what they did to Shannon and Christopher, you know what I hoped? What I hoped was that that hate would not find a host in Gary Christian's heart. But that kind of pain is not something that you just flick away. That's not something that you just kind of wish away. It took a process. It took a process to turn that pain into purpose. And on the next episode of Anything is Possible, part 2 of my interview with Gary Christian, don't miss a tremendous moment of restoration. You won't believe what you see, but it is the story of true possibility. We'll see you next time on Anything is Possible.